Hello everybody and welcome to this Train Sim TV video. Today we're taking a look at Train Simulator 2021 and the West Coast Mainline South route, which has just been released with the route. It's the showcase route for TS 2021 in the UK. And we're going to take a run probably halfway along and then have a little bit of a look at some of the other stations and stuff. Just because it's quite a long route, we'll see how we get on. Probably go as far as Wolverton or somewhere like that. So we're playing one of the included scenarios, and that scenario is 9G35, London Euston to Birmingham New Street. As it says on the screen, it says, "Good afternoon driver, please release the passenger doors and set the train ready for departure. You are due out at 17:23 and you're only stopping at Watford Junction, Coventry and Birmingham International before arriving at Birmingham New Street. This is a high-speed run with a tight schedule, any mistakes and you'll be late." I've been warned there, clearly, to watch what I'm doing. So, I actually already started recording this video last night, but I had to stop halfway through because I was getting a little bit peeved off, to be honest. Let's be clear, this route is not finished. I mean, let's start with that, okay? That's the starting point here. This is basically a beta of a route. You look at that, right there. Okay, let's have a fly around Euston. See what other issues there is. Well, how would you like your signs? Do you like them inside bridges? Your platform textures are skewy. Your overhead wires are through bridges. Your bridge has got no legs. You've got shadow mapping issues on there. I mean, you look at this view. That looks pretty decent. I'm not sure why the BT Tower or whatever it is over there seems to be in some sort of mist or something. It's a 2D asset, I guess, so can't really say much more about that. But yeah, looking around Euston, I mean, it looks okay. And then you got that. Seriously? You're telling me that this had to be released on this exact date and end up with that as the end result? I mean, that's not a major problem. That's like the sort of thing you fix in beta testing, which tells you that the testers haven't had time to test it. And this is what I will say straight away as we're getting on with this. I don't think the testers deserve to be berated for this, because I don't think the issue is the testers. I think the issue is somebody at DTG that has decided that this route just had to be released today, regardless of whether it was finished or not. Because we can go down here and look at this. Actually looks pretty good in here, doesn't it? You know, let's look at this as an asset, and that looks alright. I think I like the glass. I don't like the fact there's a gap in it, but that's, again, it's a more small bug and that can be fixed. All these things can be fixed. I keep having to calm myself down. I've been in situations where I've released crap routes myself, you know. But DTG have done a lot better than this. You know, you look down here and what's but do you end up in Hogwarts? Is it if you've run into that hard enough with a trolley, do you end up in Hogwarts or something? I mean, what the hell? Where's not even a 2D representation of the? You can understand that's okay, but what? That's actually a bit better. At least it goes somewhere. But what's going on over here? It's just like a corner. It just doesn't look right. And then something else that I noticed is someone apparently has just gone down here with a little saw and sawn pieces out of the edge of the platform. Ignore the destination fins on the side. We'll talk about that in a minute. I mean, what the hell is going on here? Now, if you load this route up as an employee of DTG, as in a manager, and you're looking right, okay, is this ready to release today? And you go along, you see that. And then you see that. Really? Because this is going to do far more damage to your reputation than if you just held it back a month and released it later. The Steam reviews already have 23 negative reviews, and most of those are negative. I think it's 17% review positive or something like that. And this is less than 12 hours after the re-release, or 12 hours or so after the re-released. Come on. This is quite possibly one of the worst station models I've ever seen. And let's get this clear, is that as we get down this route, they get a lot better, and there's some really, I nearly swore, some really good station assets. And I have full confidence in the person that's made this. Given the chance to go back and fix some of these problems, like that gap in the wall that to, you know, go through, they end up in Narnia or something. You know, given the time to fix it, then yeah, I'm sure it'd be just as good as some of the other stages, because some of them are absolutely beautiful, and we're going to see them as we go up the route. But yeah, I'm ready to go with this. I'm not in the best of moods, to be honest, because just what are we thinking? I don't. Yeah. And we've got little things on here, like, I'm pretty sure is that not supposed to have changed now? Should it still say VT 1B6? I don't know. Maybe it should. I mean, there's a lot of people experience big lag issues with this route. I'm showing 18 FPS at the minute. Which by comparison is a bit lower than I get with Metaline, but Metaline is a heavy route on FPS thanks to the S8. If you don't use the included DTG stock, you'll find it does improve a bit. So, community scenarios, hopefully if they don't use the DTG stock, you might find it improves a bit for you. But some of this stock, it's absolutely destroying the frame rate. And then of course we can talk about the Avanti 390, which I'm driving here. For starters, I don't believe that should be left on the front, and it's got all sorts of like things on it. It's a bit low res. I mean, it looks okay. I'm told that the text on the destination thing should be white, not green, but personally speaking, that's really minor. And I don't normally like to do harsh reviews, but I feel like with this one, you've got to point this one at the management of DTG, and not necessarily the users. Someone somewhere has given this the all clear to release, and it's not the people that's made it. What I mean is the developers. It's not the developers' fault. The developers get told to do a job, they do a job. If they've been told that they have to release a route, they have to release a route. I've been in that position myself before as well. You know, if you've got to release a route, you've got to release it. Although I've never been in a position where something this unfinished has been released. I've been in a position where crap products have been released, don't get me wrong, and I've been responsible for some of them. Hopefully I'm over that stage now. But this is a team of people here that have been around 12 years. I'm talking about mistakes that I made inside my first, 10, 12, 18 months. DTG have been making stuff for TS since 2008. Or people involved that have. Really, the best we can do? Because I know I've been looking at some of the older routes like Great Eastern Mainline. You can tell it's just, more finished than this is. And we've got the age-old issue, as we found in the 5 Circle review that I did, that the assets that are being used aren't great. They're not the best that DTG have got, by any means. I mean, look. And again, that's not a major issue. But that's just proof that testers haven't been given the time to go through and say, look, can you please fix this? Because a tester somewhere will have spotted that. They've got enough people in the testing team to spot that. The QA just hasn't been given the chance to be done properly. So we're diving down here. We're out of Euston now. We're going down underneath on line X, I believe it is. Gradients on here, no, I don't really know what they are in real life. I don't think there's any published gradients down here, but they seem to have done a reasonable job with it. Considering that one of the other cuttings further up has been done as a custom object, it would have been nice to have seen... Oh, for Christ's sake. Literally getting deafened. It would have been nice to have seen this one done as a custom. I think it's Primrose Hill. Is that this bit? I mean, it's not a route I know fantastically well, so I can't say whether it looks right in real life or not. as a casual player, it looks pretty decent. And I mean, on my system at the minute, it's running down pretty low, 20 FPS, but it's running okay. Like, it's not the end of the world sort of thing. But I know, even on the DTG stream last night, they were struggling with really bad FPS. And let's talk about this scenario, 9G35 London Euston to Birmingham. I've had to modify this scenario. So I've modified this now because the original one was done in the fog and in spring. Literally the worst weather combination ever in train sim. This is the only scenario out of Euston. Why would you make your only scenario out of Euston in fog and spring? I don't know why you'd do that. So I've had to change the weather because it just looks awful in spring and fog. Couldn't see anything for stars. I mean, fat chance of reviewing a bloody route when you're in the fog. I mean, this is custom and this looks decent. I mean, I'm not sure why we've got 7,000 textures on that wall over there, but it looks decent enough, doesn't it, really? And it's been built in a style where it's minimalist. It's not had, like, 65,000 assets placed on a tile. And, as I said, we'll come across some lovely-looking stations. Really nice-looking stations. This is, you know, the first of many that look really decent on the DC lines. And that is another thing that we can come to, is the DC lines seemingly have absolutely no part to play in this route. You can't do anything with them. There's no quick drives for them. There's no scenarios included for the 378 to drive. Quite a few scenarios for the 350, which is probably the best piece of Owen stock included with this route at launch. Well, generally speaking, included with this route. Yeah. As this review goes along, I want it to be clear that the harsh comments I'm making are not directed at the guys that have made this route, as in the developers, as in the builders. I fully expect that they've been put in a position where they have had to finish this on this day, that they had to finish it, and not being allowed to have extra time to finish it, so to speak. This station got me all wound up. That's getting me wound up as well, to be honest. And bear in mind, this is actually the second time I've recorded this because I got so pissed off the first time. Bleep that bit out. More instances of just not having time to test. That's perfectly normal. That can get released and it's not really a massive issue. We've got stuff like this here. And there's other issues like the graffitied wall out there and stuff like that, but don't really care about that. And then you're sort of sitting down here on Kilburn High Road Station, you're thinking, yeah, that looks fantastic, I like that. Which it does, it looks really good. New stop car markers for the 378s and 710s. Nice bits of clutter. Is that I thought that was a correcting signal for the moment, then it's not. Then you sort of sit over here and you're like, yeah, that looks fantastic. Really like looking at that station. And then you see a Kuju building right there. I'm sorry, what? Have we really only been able to make half a station asset and then just like dump a Kuju building on top of the the down fast? Because that's a monstrosity. That is fantastic. I mean, it's got some kit bash bits going on here, I think, but we've got a hole in it. That's a bug, isn't it? Really, it's a minor bug. But why make half an asset? And this screams to me of, I don't know whether maybe a developer has said, right, we need that station making. Right, okay, I'll make the station. And somebody's made the station, and then they've not actually been told to go back and do this bit. Or they've not had time to go back and do this bit. Because why would you make half of it? You've made the bridge and just left it. It's like on the Met line, if we'd have done one of these bridges and just sort of left the bit on this side and done one bit over here, it wouldn't work. You have to do the whole thing. Because that ruins the fantastic work that's been done over here. Because this is brilliant. I mean, the textures are a little bit low res on that bit, but who cares? It's inside the bridge. I don't. And there's a nice bit of clutter. It's been really quite well made. And these are the things, the repeating themes that we'll see as we go along is really well made. And the bugs that we're finding, they're the sort of things that always get caught in beta. We're coming up to Queen's Park here. This is another really, really good station model. In fact, this might well be one of my favourite station models that I've seen in TS, to be honest. Oh, there's probably bits I've missed. I mean, you can apparently drive your car straight down the track there, but let's just look in here, and it's looking really good, isn't it? It's looking really decent. You've got all the little things like on the signs. You've got the way out pointing towards the way out. It's not been mirrored or anything like that. It's been done properly. Yeah, I mean, this looks fantastic. We've got some cool little signals going on, so they've obviously been custom made. And look at the pipework and stuff. Got some block points, but they're quite hard to do, those ones. But yeah, that looks fantastic. And hats off to the people that have made the stations, because for the most part, other than Euston, which, you know, is the key station, they're really good. And that's what I'm saying here, is somebody somewhere is responsible for letting Euston be put out like that. Because you got to imagine that the fixes that were needed there were probably, what, a couple of days? But I bet it's arrived so late in development that nobody's actually had time to go and say, right, that's wrong. And they'll end up doing it a day after release when there's already 23 negative reviews and people kicking off left, right and centre. When you've already got the bad feedback, what's the point in fixing it then? You might as well just delayed it by a week when you knew a month ago that you were really struggling for time to delay it a bit. Because now the reputation of this route is down the toilet. Even if you fix it, reviews such as this one are here because you're looking at the release content. You have to try and release it in a finished state. You can't just release it because it's release day sort of thing. I mean, that looks good, doesn't it? Well, apart from that wall up on there, but it looks good. I like that. I'm told the OHLE is not entirely accurate, but I don't know much about OHLE, and I don't really know much about this end of the West Coast. So for me, it's all right. I like it. I know I was watching Alan Thompson's stream last night, and he was saying about the OHLE being run down here. Well, I don't know enough about it to comment on that. So, I mean, you're looking from the cab, that looks good on the right side, doesn't it? And as we're getting up here, we're going to find more and more sort of Cujo assets that have been used, and the same ones getting used. And we'll go into that as we get further on. I'm on a full-on rant here at the moment. We'll find down here probably the wires will disappear. That's Wolverton Depot on the right. Now the wires will disappear here, and I believe, at least I hope, that's an issue with the fact that it's trying to load them all in at once. We're getting quite laggy in as well now. And I'm not really sure what more they can do about that. I think that's really it's just too much for the game to handle, basically. And it'll load them in eventually, but it'll probably be Coventry by the time it loads these in. I mean, I'm getting quite a bit of lag at the moment. The frame rate obviously locks at 14, so you can't see any lower than that. And as I said, Metline's a laggy view that I was involved with early stages of that. So I can't sit here and say that stuff I've done is perfect, because it ain't. Metline's a bit pants for it. Especially the S8 causes it. And some of this you can't really do much about because of the amount of stuff going on. I mean, you look outside of it, it's not like they've tried to build 3/4 of London or something. It's very basic out there. It's because there's so many lofts, there's so many things it's trying to load in. Look at all this it's trying to load in at once. And the game just can't do it. And I suppose there's a point where you can't just cancel the route because bits of it won't load in. I think if you go along here a lot slower, you'll probably find it does load in better than this. But I mean, without the wires and stuff, it does kind of ruin the look of it, doesn't it? They're starting to reappear slowly now because there's less lofts and stuff up here, there's less stuff trying to load in. I mean, we've got footbridges not here and everything like that. But that isn't really so much of a bug, it's just kind of an issue. I don't know if the freeware one suffers from it quite as much. I know it does suffer from it. Now this is a station I've been wanting to see, is Wembley Central. I have already seen it, to be fair. I mean, we've got stuff that would be caught in beta testing. No doubts about it, if you give people like a couple of months. Because, let's face it, if you give Tester, let's say you give Tester 5 builds. Testers could drive along in 4 builds and not spot that. But then on the 5th one, they might say, oh look, I've seen that. Now, normally when we've done testing for routes, we try and give at least 5 to 6 builds. Normally, it's way more than that. But I mean, that's also the things that the developers would have spotted, I'm sure, had they had the time. But I mean, it's a minor bug, isn't it? But the issue, you keep finding the minor bugs, and at what point do you say, oh, we've got so many minor bugs in here that it's a pretty big bug, actually, when you keep seeing the same things over and over again. But again, look at this, innit? It looks fantastic. And we've got the underground signs on that side. We've got the underground signs. Are they all over on Wembley Central? Maybe they are. It looks good. I like this. Now we've got footbridges built inside here. We've actually got the stairways in. It doesn't go anywhere because it sort of like dies up here. But I mean, some of this is more detailed than Euston ended up. But Wembley Central shouldn't really be more detailed than Euston, should it? Euston should be your headline station along with Birmingham New Street, shouldn't it? Really? Those should be your two stations you're looking at and saying, yeah, that's the. These are landmark routes for DT, landmark places for DTG. These are, you can go along and say, look at what we've done with London Euston. But now the problem is going to be, videos like this one and Alan's video and stuff like that. People are going to go, and then if you say they fix all this after this, they're going to go, yeah, look what we did with London Euston, and people are going to go, well, and what about on YouTube? What about on Steam? What about that? What about this? Think about it. Just spend a bit more time fixing the damn thing. Your reputation wouldn't get harmed as much as it will do now through the bloody Steam reviews. I mean, this looks really quite good. We've got Kuju going on. I mean, Kuju not, but it looks alright. I can live with that over there. It's just an old asset, that's all. But the station itself looks fantastic. I like it. Now, I've got to be careful, because when I tried this before, I did drop the AWS somewhere around here and DSDs and all sorts. So let's try and talk about the route a little bit more. So what do you get? You get 25 quid. 112 miles. Yes, 112 miles. That's a massive route for DTG in UK terms. I don't think they've done anything longer than that in UK terms with one hit. You get 8 scenarios, and those feature a variety of stock. So you get this one, which is 9G35 using the Pendolino from Euston to Birmingham New Street. As I said, that's the only one that actually starts at Euston, which is a shame, with the Pendolino. You get 5Y10, learning the road from New Street to London Euston with the 350. 9Y04, Liverpool Lime Street to Euston using the 350. You also get 2K22 Milton Keynes to Euston using the 350. 2COO/1Y86 Coventry to Birmingham Street using the 350. Then the 377 on 2M23 East Croydon to Milton Keynes. And finally, the Class 66 Freightliner Power Hall 4L05 Cannock to Felixstowe Freightliner. Then you get 3 Railfan scenarios. So my first question is, why is there no scenarios on the DC lines using the 378? Because the stations, as we've seen, look fantastic. So obviously there's been a fair bit of the budget gone on spending to make those look really good. So why have we not got a scenario on it? Not even any quick drive options from what I can see. We'll have a look around here, because this is a bit of a more important station, isn't it? This is Harrow and Wealdstone. So why have you not, done that on the DC lines? But maybe we'll get quick drive options after. It'd be nice if we did. The glass is a weird one here. It's visible on the inside but not on the outside. But the footbridge itself looks fantastic, I think. It looks good, I like it. Nice bit of grime on it. Signage is good. I honestly have no idea whether it's underground all the way around Harrow Wolverton Station. We've got the exterior. That was very basic on this side. What about the other side? Okay, it's very basic all round. This one seems very basic on the outside, whereas the others seem to have more detail, which is a bit unusual. But again, it looks good, doesn't it? You're looking at this and you're thinking, wow, whoever made this station hit it out the park. I mean, we've got weird things like kinks in platforms again. And there, especially. But that's something, again, that should be getting caught in testing. But you're sort of looking at this as a whole and you're thinking, without trying to look for bugs, you're thinking, bloody hell, this looks good. Well done, guys. Especially the person that made the asset, because it's damn good. Let's get a screenshot. So obviously in this 112 mile route, you don't get the Northampton loop. I've seen quite a few people getting upset about that. And I think I can understand why you wouldn't get that, because 112 miles is already a massive route. It's a massive shame that it's not in, because it's kind of crucial to the whole idea of the West Coast Main Line south. But yeah, you can't do freights very well on stuff like that. And Daventry at Rugby area hasn't been included, which again is a shame. Kind of limits you again. Although you wouldn't have much use from it, even then, because they go up the Trent Valley, most of the stuff from Daventry off, not all of it. Now, my personal take on what I'd rather have seen happen here is more like what they did with North West Coast. I think I would have rather seen them do this route to Northampton and Rugby, use all the same amount of budget, all the same stock, sell it for 25 quid, give us a banging route, a few more custom bridges, Northampton loop, sell it for 25 quid, and then do an add-on to Birmingham, maybe a bit less than 25 quid for that bit. But allow them to concentrate a little bit more, put more budget, the same budget into this for less mileage, and do a better route. Because what we've ended up here is a long route that is not very good, because of the fact that this has to be finished, obviously, to a very tight schedule. And let's be clear here, none of the issues that we're finding are absolutely fundamental. You're not going to go and say, well, that can never be fixed. That's that sort of thing, because that's not the case. A lot of the things here can be fixed quite quickly, actually. But we've got to make this point. Us as customers have to make this stand, because if we don't, does that make it then alright to just leave a route in this state? I don't think it does. And the only way I've learned from mistakes in the past is by people saying, Christ, that's a bad route. Because how good would that look if it was actually the bridge that's probably there? Not with bloody 2004 textures on it or whatever they are. I mean, you look at that, doesn't matter. I mean, it looks pretty good, that, doesn't it? You look at the cutting, the way it's been put together, the way the bridge has been put together. I am not criticising the guy that has put this together. Let's make that clear. You know, the guy that's made this, as in the route builder, has done a bloody good job. He's just been let down by somebody that decided that Coogee bridge had to be in the route. Because it looks fantastic otherwise. That's what's so frustrating. I want to get a script. See, I'd love to take that as a screenshot, but I can't with that bridge in the background, can I? Let's be honest. So this is what I'm saying. You've got to say these things to try and not hold DTGA to account. I guess that's the wrong word. But and sort of say, come on. Your customers expect better. And again, this looks good. It looks really good. Brilliant bushy. Because the bloody station model and the DC line one, which we can't use because they didn't include any scenarios for it, looks great. Look at it. Look at the detail. Well, okay, we've got transparent glass, but the detail of it is really good. Look at that. And this is why I'm getting so upset and frustrated, is we've managed to do this at Bushy. Yet we've left a hole in the side of Euston. It's like, okay, Mark, we get it now. You've said it about 50,000 times. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm not going to stop. And then we've got lovely custom bridge, and then we've got Kuju. Kuju. But look, again, clearly the DC lines have been done bloody well and have been done properly as well. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, that's not... As far as the scenarios on this route and the quick drivers as well are concerned, that does not exist. All the time and effort that's gone into this looks better than some of the 5 stations. Let's bear that in mind. And it's had all the time and effort put in to put this together. And you can't even drive it when you buy the product. You can't even drive it. It's not... So the average customer will not even get to drive this bit. So what was the point in wasting the money making it then? What was the point in spending the money to make this and then not use it? Beats me, but okay. Oh, obviously the community can make scenarios, but it's just shooting yourself in the foot as DCG, is it not? To have all that there and not actually use it? Because if I made a route and I didn't use that bit, I'd be expecting my manager to come to me and say, why have we not got a scenario doing that section of the route? Why can't our customers drive that bit? And is that what's happened? Is there's nobody actually sitting there and thinking from a customer's point of view, whilst we're going sailing through Watford, is there nobody thinking from a customer's point of view is, would I be happy with this as one of our hardcore customers? I think even some of your casual customers will be a bit disappointed by this, let's be honest. But it's mainly the hardcore, such as myself, that are going to be like mostly disappointed by it. But can you really look at this and say it's better than stuff they've done in the past? I can't. I don't think you can. I think you can look at some of DCG's earliest routes and say that they're better than most of this has ended up because of the way it's been released and some of the decisions that have clearly been made en route to completion. And I'd be interested to see if any other people think that they would have rather paid twice for 2 good routes with the whole time and stuff to into it, one to Rugby and one to an extension to Birmingham, or would you rather just pay once and end up with a less complete route? Because I mean, I don't see as many issues with the North Wales coast as I do with this, for instance. Now I know some people that live local to the North Wales coast say that route isn't necessarily accurate. To me, I like it. I mean, the real life thing's a little bit boring, but the actual route itself, fantastic. And this is another good looking station. I mean, something I did notice was, why can't I have a Class 91? Okay. Like this signs, for instance, we've got the same dirt pan. And this again comes back to something I've said before, which is, if you can't weather it really nicely, just leave it clean. Because that's just tiling all the way along there, it's the same thing. And then there's this bit. Have we gone along with a nail file here or something? We've left a gap underneath the bottom. And as per all the other stations, let's make it clear, these are things that could have been caught in testing, and would have been caught in testing given time. Because some of the things I've been pulled up on over the past, I can guarantee you that some of the same testers I'm sure are part of DTG. You know, some of the things I've been pulled up on are far more minor than this. But you just need to give them time to do it. And of course you're going to have some testers that are hangers on, some that just want a free product, and some that just don't test. But you should have a core of testers that will tell you like it is. You don't want testers that are going to not tell you like it is. You want the critics as your testers. You want people that say that's crap, that is. It's no good having your fan club as your testers. But is your fan club like, no, I just want to please you? I found that out the hard way in the past. Performance for myself has increased quite a bit now. It's 21 FPS, but it's playable. Definitely playable. The sounds are ear piercing on this at the moment. This is a thing I noticed as well. Everywhere you look, there's cable troughs that haven't been finished. There's 2 more over here. And they've just not been finished, have they? And that's because they've probably just been lofted off the track. And again, the person that's put those in will know how to end a cable trough. But they haven't got the time, I don't think. They've got, you know, it's like, there, it's through gantries and stuff. I just doubt they've had the time. I think it's a case of, right, need cable troughs, okay, just loft them off then. You know, just chuck it in. Because the time does not allow them to do it properly. This tunnel down here, for instance, I'm pretty sure it doesn't look exactly like this. I don't know it, but I've got a feeling it doesn't look like this. I imagine there's some, you know, probably some nice potholes on it in real life. Nice pair of potholes. Big ones as well. Yeah. I can't keep repeating stuff. I'm gonna keep repeating it. Because the only way I've found and learnt in the past is by harsh criticism. And by no means am I saying I'm really good. I'm not. I'm crap at route building in some areas. And again, it isn't the route building that's the problem. It's the person that's let this be released before it's finished that's the problem. Now, either your company's about to go bankrupt and you have to get this payday in right now, or it's a massive lapse in judgment, isn't it? Because if your company was literally about to go bust and you had to get this money in right now, fair enough. I'd live with that. But as far as I'm aware, the DCG aren't in that situation. And what are we serving to do here? Because we're not helping anybody's reputation. We've released a 112 mile route here, haven't you? Yeah, you've released a 112 mile route. That quite simply needed testing and it needed finesse. That's all it needed. It just needed those little bits on the end. A few weeks. I don't know how fast DCG work. I mean, for me, it's a one-man band. It could take a good month or two to do this, but to do the fixes that are needed. But I imagine DCG have got a bigger team that they could surely draft in to do a quick job on this, if they needed to, and get the thing released. But that such as Euston is just criminal. And that's obviously being committed to, the release has been committed to, and you've gone for all your marketing and everything. And we made this mistake with Metline. We said, oh yeah, it'll be out tomorrow, I think, or something like that, it'll be out on Thursday or something daft like that. And then we found an issue with it, and we had to pause the release. And it was quite a major issue, we had to pause the release. And it makes you look stupid, it makes you look bloody stupid when you have to cancel a release. But this makes you look more stupid, releasing it not finished, because you end up with negative reviews. Far more negative than if you just held back a little bit. I mean, the FPS is always going to get some negative reviews because, I mean, that's like the Metline. If the Metline didn't have the FPS issue, it'd be a really good route, but unfortunately it's got the FPS issue. So it's always going to get the negative reviews, and that's the same for this. It's always going to get some negative reviews based on that. But it's going to get far more than that just because of how you can tell it's been released before it's finished. I mean, this is the only scenario that starts at Euston, and it starts at Euston next to a hole in the goddamn platform. And this video is now turning into just a rant, isn't it? Let's be honest, we're 39 minutes in here, and it's just a full-on rant. And I'm not really talking about what we're passing some pretty nice stuff. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? And we've got another station, we've got Hemel Hempstead Station. Which, I mean, it looks good, doesn't it? It does look quite good. I mean, there's bits of clutter, there's bins, there's grip bins, there's seats, there's signs. All the stop car markers are in. Somebody's actually worked out exactly where each one of these goes as well, which is really good to see, because that's not a small job. It seems like a... Is it bi-directional here? Why have I got a 12 car stop on that side? I don't know. Anyway, You know, it seems like a small thing doing stuff like stop car markers, but I can assure you it's not if you've got to look for all your research images for every station on every platform and find out where every single one of them is supposed to go. It is not a small job. You know, hats off to them for stuff like that, because it's really good. Yeah, it looks... again, it looks good as a custom model, doesn't it? The person that's put on the route building side that's put all the clutter and stuff on. Good job. I mean, for me, this isn't really capturing any atmosphere at the moment. But then I don't really know the West Coast. I think as we're getting further out, it is getting a bit better in terms of... You can see the flowing countryside and everything. At Euston, we just didn't capture the atmosphere because I was so annoyed with the state it's in. But there's a lot of reliance on hold of assets and stuff when really you should be trying to do better than that, because there was a time when DTG were investing a lot to make a lot of bridges and stuff. And now we don't seem to be doing that quite so much. I don't know why I'm talking in a third person about DTG saying well, I don't know why I'm doing that, it's weird. So we've got a neutral section here. It's nice to see that they've been put in, looks good. You'll see the line light on the right hand side will go off as the back of the train goes under it. There you go, just flashed on off. So that's where we've gone through a neutral section, so it's nice to see those in. And I mean, for the most part, the wiring's pretty good. There's stuff like where they go straight through bridges and stuff, which is, yeah, it's frustrating. But that again, that comes from the fact that the developer of the route builder has had to use a London to Brighton bridge. Whereas really, you should be getting custom bridges for stuff like this. You should be. And it's a lot of work to keep doing big bridges all the time, but... Are we doing the West Coast Main Line, or are we doing a route like the West Coast Main Line? Because the freeway one is no worse in that respect. You know, the freeway one is exactly the same in that respect, in terms of they've had to use a lot of DTG bridges. Now, if you're putting a budget onto this to make it as a pay-away route, and this will sell like mad, let's face it, you can take a bit of a risk with this because you know it's going to sell huge. Oh wow! Just being decapitated, guys. That. I don't even know what to say. I'm almost speechless about how poor that is. To release a route with that. And again, that is not a major issue in the development phase of your route. That's the sort of thing you just go and say, right, can you just move that wall back a bit, please, in your custom asset or whatever? And your asset developer say, yeah, no problem, I'll do it now. And it'll get done. You don't release it like that. Freeware developers would not release that like that. You're charging 25 quid for me to knock my bloody head off a bridge here. Give your head a wobble. Well, my head's had a bloody wobble there, hasn't it? Come on. That's worse than me turning bloody Leamington Station sign inside out on Chiltern Daddies. That will become a more popular meme than me turning Leamington sign inside out. Guarantee it now. And let's put that in perspective. That was me building a route based off a few months worth of experience, 5-6 months worth of experience on Newcastle to Edinburgh. There's people involved here in management specifically that have been involved for 12 years and more. Some of them way more than that. And they know you can't release it like that. You know that. Come on. At least the station name's a good descriptor of the person that allowed that to happen. Well, again, it looks bloody brilliant. It looks superb. Even the station signs look better here. And it's let down by pure slop. Just sloppiness. of allowing that to be released in that condition. I feel like the platform gets a bit close to the train at that end there, but I can live with that. Yeah, I can live with it. It's not a problem. And a tester will have brought that up, I'm sure. Maybe the testers only had a couple of days to bring it up though. And by the time they did, it was too late to actually get it fixed. I'm going to stop this drive soon and just fly along a bit, because we'll do it again in other videos. The video itself is going to end up being miles long. I mean, the route map you can see is impressive, 112 miles. You've got London Euston down there on the far right, you've got the DC line at Watford there. Wolverton Works, which we're going to come up to reasonably soon. Just get the power off. Then you've got where the Northampton loop would go off. Unfortunately it doesn't. Rugby up there. We're going to take a look at all this. Coventry, and then into Birmingham International and Birmingham New Street on the far left. We'll take a look at all that soon. I'm just going to get this train to Wolverton and the cut in there, because that got me irked as well. But I mean, as I said, look at the route building side of it here. And I don't want the route builders to feel down about this, because they are not the people that are to blame here. Look at it. It looks really bloody good, doesn't it? It looks good. You know, I don't have any issues at all with how this has been put together. Any. I mean, the foliage looks good. I'm not a fan of those trees particularly, but you can see that somebody's gone along here and knows what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Whether they've had the time to do it properly or not, I don't know. Probably under a lot of pressure, I would imagine. And that, again, is not their fault. And commercial pressure is difficult. Been in the situation myself many times. And we've had to learn from our mistakes of commercial pressure. But these are mistakes that the DTG shouldn't be making, let's be clear. They're experienced enough not to make mistakes of this nature. And as I say, I feel sorry for the people that have had to, you know, make this room and build it, because they have worked bloody hard to make this. I can guarantee you that. Nobody here has been making this route and slacked off halfway through and just thought, oh, I'll just do a crap job there. I mean, you can see stuff like this, right? So you could criticise the route developer for that. And that there. I think you could quite rightly criticise that. But then you've got to put into perspective of, okay, so did the route developer have time to actually get notified about that? And did a tester notify that? And did a tester notify this? And then you look at the fact is, well, did the tester have time to notify that? And the answer is probably no. Probably no. I mean, those are just bugs. They're just testing bugs. That's all they are. The person that made this route is not a crap route builder because they left that there. Let's get that straight. They are not. They've done a fantastic job. It just needed that chance to go along and finish it, test it, and check it. So, just a little break from ranting, because we're getting quite a lot of ranting going on here. What stock do you get? You get quite a lot of stock. You get a Class 221 Super Voyager in the Avanti livery, and you're going to have some people go, though, well, oh no, the Class 221 doesn't come in Avanti livery. Doesn't bother me. I don't mind it being in Avanti livery personally. At all. Class 350 comes in London Midland livery. I think that's obviously a licensing issue and not a licensing issue, and not having the LNWR license. I'm cool with that. The 350 is probably the best piece of stock in this route. 377, Stosh 2. And the 378, which you can't drive because nobody disconnected on the DC lines. And then the 390. So those are... It's a hell of a lot of stock, isn't it? So that's really good. 25 quid, 112 mile route. Face of it, fantastic. And obviously when this project was thought up, I imagine it was thought to be a very ambitious route, and it's turned out that way. I mean, you've got 41 custom stations, I believe it is. But there comes a point where you have to say, okay, that date is a step too far. Unfortunately, we'll never know why this happened or why it was allowed to release before it was finished. I do hope DTG aren't in such a financial situation that this had to be released on the day it had to be released, because that would be a serious worry for me. I'd rather it be just somebody's monumental cock up that the marketing side and everything just could not be undone. You know, you've put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, here, for instance, Cheddington, we've got a sign with London Midland on it. Yet at none of the other stations, I believe, we've got a sign that says London Midland on it. That's a minor inconsistency. Again, the station's good. I like it. It's got all the little signs. Look at all the little signs it's got. So we try and, with all our routes now at JT, we try and do as many of these little signs as you can, because they just add that little bit of clutter. You start looking around and you're seeing the signs and you're thinking, yeah, that looks exactly like the place it's trying to be. And this does, doesn't it? And I like the green texture behind there. I think this does look just like the place it's trying to be. Got the footbridge over the top and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know the place very well, but if somebody said that to me, that's Cheddington, I'll say, yeah, it looks like Cheddington. And it looks good from this perspective as well, doesn't it? When you're looking around. It's not been overdone. Done a damn better job than I do at limiting how much scenery you're putting in. Because I go over the top sometimes. I'm still learning to fix that myself. I'd not go quite so over the top. So that's good. Very good. Love the deals. We've got power lines in the background, so that's really nice. The track lane seems spot on from what I've seen. Really good. This scenario seems a bit basic, but it's doing the job, apart from the fact that the original one was done in spring and fog. I think Alan did it in the spring and fog actually. So look at Alan's version of this video, and that's how it was sold. And look at this, how I've modified it to look with the sun, and think how much better it looks just for the fact that I've done it in summer and clear weather. Just the fact I've changed that. And that, you could criticise me there for not running it exactly as sold, but I want to try and show it as it should be seen, because it should be seen in clear conditions, ideally. And I'm glad that Alan's run it in the fog, because it shows how it actually seen. At the end of the day, that's how it's actually seen. And you can't see more than a couple of hundred yards in front of you. You can't see all the effort that's gone into this scenery. But then you also can't see some of the bugs as well, so maybe that's why it was done. I jest. This is Leighton Buzzard again with London Midland branding on the signs. Well, I wonder if when they went to research some of the stations, that it was quite a while ago and they had still got the branding on the signs. Maybe that explains that. I'm quite a fan of this. I quite like this one again. I don't really think I've seen any bad station model since Euston. Unfortunately, Euston's where the journey started, and Euston's like the terminus point for the railway, and it's one of the main stations in the country. Did anyone else notice we didn't see any screenshots of Euston in any of the promotional material as far as I'm aware? Surely if you were really proud of something, you'd be there jumping, singing from the shouting from the hilltops about it. FPS wise, I'm 30 FPS at the minute. At the moment on my machine I have no gripes about it. and I am on a high end, or reasonably high, not that high end, but I am on a reasonably high machine. My processor's not the best in the world. It's an i7 3 GHz processor. RAM, I've got 16 gig, and I'm on a RTX 260 graphics card, and I am running an SSD for train sim as well. So the most of the customers will be on a lower spec machine than me. And I noticed when DCG was streaming it last night that their FPS was far worse than this, but on a higher end machine, which was strange. By the graphics card, that is. It was a higher end machine. And I imagine that was a bit of a shock to have the FPS so low on the promotional stream. Because I don't think that was expected. And I imagine it was a bit of an awkward sort of situation to be in. But yeah, again, look, it's got the basis of a fantastic route about it, hasn't it? I'm seeing nice variation in the tree lines and different weeds and stuff placed. It's been done properly. So, yeah, you look at it from that point of view and it's rather good, isn't it? And look at this now on a lovely looking embankment. And where are we now? How far from Wolverton are we? We're not far. We're coming towards Bletchley. So we've got Bletchley, Milton Keynes, then Wolverton, and then we'll cut off and we'll go up to Birmingham and fly up to Birmingham, have a look around, see what we can see. See what we reckon. It'll be interesting to see what community scenarios we can get for this. I mean, there'll be lots that come out, I'm sure. Unfortunately, there can't really be that much for it because you're missing the Northampton loop, so you're going to kind of do some awkward two-parters there, which will be weird, but that's something I'm sure might go through the double track section. Never really looked into it. Pardon me. Getting a bit of lag now because we're coming into Bletchley, which is understandable. So this is Bletchley. Don't think I've seen a 3D crash bar in DCG's library before, so that's nice to see. You've got the flyover there. I'm not sure if that's still there in real life or not. But you got the flyover anyway. Nice signage. And generally speaking, a really, really good job at this, haven't they? Again, we can keep saying it as many times as we like. They've done a good job at these stations. And they deserve the credit. Definitely deserve the credit. Really do, because this looks pretty good. I'm not going to go critiquing the stock too much because I really don't know enough about it to do that. Alan Thompson's a far better judge on the traction side, and I know he's been talking about it quite a lot on his stream. Whether he did on his video or not, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know enough about this traction to start critiquing it. So we're coming up towards Milton Keynes soon. We'll get through MK, then we go through Wolverton, and that's where I'm going to cut and have a little flight to rugby and stuff like that. I don't want to make this video more than an hour and 10 really, if I can avoid it, but we'll see. Very conscious of it becoming a massively long video. Again, round of FPS is getting tanked a bit, but it is a busy area. I guess the OHLE is probably having quite a big effect on that, maybe. Okay, so first of all, Let's talk about Kuju once again, because we managed to get the Kuju warehouse in here, which is fantastic, right next to Milton Keynes Station. So you go to all the expense of making this fantastic looking custom station, then you look at an asset from 2007. And the contrast is look at it. Look at it. And it's right next to the track. So frustrating. And we got stuff like this. And again, you can forgive stuff like that because you're seeing so much of this sort of thing now. You start saying, well, okay, there's quite a lot of bugs. But again, I'm going to hold the people that are responsible that they let that release in that state and not give the testers enough time to test it. Yeah? I think that's fair, isn't it? I mean, you've got nice... Look at the details. They've got little, the little barrier things that go around the sides here. That's a nice touch. All round, it's looking pretty good once you hide that blue building in the background. It just wasn't ready to go out now. Just needed more time. And as I say, we have to make DTG know that. As customers. And it's been said as well, the DTG protagonist on the TSC community forum, community Discord, has said make sure DTG know this stuff. Because if you don't tell them, they're not going to know. And if they don't know, they're not going to do any better, are they? And they're not going to fix it if you don't know either. Doesn't matter. And they might not fix it if they do know, but hopefully they will. And we can all sit here and say, yeah, this is fantastic, we love it, yay, yay, brilliant. Do we really love this amount of bugs in our routes? Yeah, you're consistently finding them. And clear unfinished bits like Euston. This is Wolverton, so I'm going to cut the video slightly and then we're going to go fly up to Birmingham and stuff like that. I'm sure what's going on with the trees, why the shading keeps changing at close range, but we've got bits that aren't smoothed out and stuff. And this is Wolverton works, so I'm hoping we've got custom works and stuff in here. I've not looked at this yet. I mean, the detail's good, isn't it? Good detail. Hats off again to the person that's made this in terms of the route building side. Look at the canal work. So, as I say, the person that has made this in the route builder, give yourself a pat on the back because you've done a bloody good job. A very good job. I'd say probably better than me, to be honest, in some respects. You've nicely turned a lot of these and stuff like that. Some real attention to detail and time has gone into that. And with the stress I imagine you've been put under, well done. I don't know if that's something that's not loaded in, to be fair. But well done. It looks really good. Bad DTG for just like not doing custom works or anything down here. So, and the reason I say that is, I mean, look at the detail that somebody's gone to actually do this. So, in terms of what I would have expected here, pay some respect to the bloody history of the place, will you? You know, this is a historical works. It's one of the main works in Britain, really. Let's face it. It's quite a famous one. It's where there are trains kept, as you know it was. At least do some of it custom. At least a bit of it. I mean, for crying out loud, why is that so much to ask for? And again, this is an example of I'd rather bought two good routes than one that's just clearly had bits left out of it, let's be honest about it. And again, that comes back to the management side. It does not come back... That station sign looks way better than a lot of them. Why is that? It does not come back to the people that have been involved in making the assets or the route, because that side of it is really, really nicely done. Sure, there's quite a lot of bugs and quite a lot of mistakes and quite a lot of things where you think, well, yeah, okay, you could have done better there, but you've got to then take the time aspect into it, and I bet there's a big issue with that. Okay, so let's go into scenario editor now. I'm going to go in the free roam, and we're going to have a fly around some of the other stations and stuff north of Rugby. One positive that I can say is I haven't had any dumps on TS21 yet. I've not really had any issues. I think the core update seems to have done a good job. They've done quite well with that. So that's a real good positive. Hopefully everyone else finds that as well. So well done to DTG for that. But I mean, it's just unusual how you can clearly see where there's just things that have been not finished or not given time to finish. And let's be clear, when we're giving DTG this feedback, don't just be nasty about it. Don't say, oh, that's shit. Oh, that crap. Oh, that's a lot of crap, that route. What have you done that for? That's not the right way to go about it. You got to tell them these things. You go onto the DTG forum. Oh, we've got the old white sky syndrome. You go onto the DTG forum and you tell them in a nice way. You say, okay, looks great, but... And then calmly list your bugs. Calmly list your issues. Do it in a constructive manner. Because there's no point in going and making the people that have had to make this route feel awful about themselves. I mean, there's some critical issues, such as the, as I say, the release of the damn thing. I think you should feel pretty bad about that, because clearly somebody there has dropped the ball. Badly. Dropped the ball. And, you know, it's no good telling the people that have made the route as in the route builders that they've done a shit job and stuff like that, because they haven't. And also, it's not fair on them either, because again, they've had the commercial pressure that somebody else has put on them. So this is Birmingham New Street, and at this point I'm just going to mute my stream because we've got a lot of Kuju noises going on. I'm not sure, that doesn't scream 2020 quality up there on the welcome sign, but it looks pretty decent, doesn't it? It's the best we've had from New Street. I think that's fair to say, but we've never really had it before. We've only had it in the cross-country route, and they did a great job to say it was a freeway route. You know, you can't be expecting them to compete with DTG, or you certainly shouldn't be at all, because they haven't got the resources for starters. I mean, we've got the sideways signal stuff in here. I don't know exactly how they operate. We've got this, they're represented. It's reasonable enough, isn't it? Some of the textures need a bit of work. Like there, look. And that's a bit low res, and then whatever's going on there, again, not finished. But it's better than Euston, I feel. I think Euston was worse than this. The sign, I'm not a fan of that. I don't think that's exactly how they look in real life. Signal box is here, but it is very low res. Very low res. And then it continues a little bit down towards the Wolverton lines and out of Birmingham towards the south. Doesn't go very far. Very minimal detail outside the station, which is alright. Perfectly fine with that. You're buggered if you want to take a shot from up here, because it's so low detail, but I'd rather have no detail than waste a lot of frame rate, I think, up there. Not quite sure why we've got half a Class 37 engine on the floor outside New Street Station. Maybe they're now doing overhauls on Class 37s on Platform 1 at New Street. I'm not sure. But the detail on the car stop markers, everything like that's really good. I'm not sure why we've got ballast on the roof. Oh, that texture. I think that's below par. And again, even here. And freeway routes are better than that. And look, what's going on here? Look at it. Just look at that. And then this is the famous departure from New Street. And let's be blunt here. It doesn't really look anything like it, does it? It's a representation, sure. And is that a coacting signal? In which case, cool. Or is it just a normal one? I'm not really sure, to be honest. Quite cool. But it just doesn't have the feel of coming out of New Street. I don't know why it doesn't have the feel, but it just doesn't to me. I don't like all this going on. Could we not have had this made as a custom cutting, considering we managed to do a custom cutting in Primrose Hill? Is this cutting then inferior to Primrose Hill? Because I'd say this is just as important, if not more important than Primrose Hill. And we got minor things like that there with the thing cut off, but again, you can fix that. We've got a nice bit of detail here. We've got this is the Rotunda building. We've got the Bulving. We've got the shopping centre. We've got Moore Street Station in basic form, which is fine. I'm cool with that. Looks good. Nice to see they've done that because they, didn't have to do that. Bit stupid if they didn't, but they didn't have to. So this is Curzon Street we're coming up to. AKA Cuju Street, because when you're coming out of Birmingham New Street, people that know the route will know what I'm on about. You come out of here and you look across and you say, oh look, nice Curzon Street. Well, not today you don't. Again, this here, that for me is just a bit disrespectful to the route, isn't it? You're not respecting the history of it, you're not respecting how it actually looks in real life, you're not respecting your customers. Yeah? This looks okay. I mean, it's not how the actual museum looks, but it looks okay over there. And then we get down here and it's all looking pretty decent for the most part. It looks a bit sort of... I don't know what you can say about it. We've got a random Reading depot, by the way. Just chucked down there. I mean, it looks alright. It's well built from a route building perspective. Again, we've got the cable troughs that haven't been finished. That's just par for the course at the moment, because obviously they've had to be done very quickly, I guess. It looks alright. I feel like this could have been done custom and a lot better. Lawler Street, nobody's loading freight lines today because somebody's stolen the crane, so you can't do that. You've got Camp Hill Line. Birmingham Football Ground is now a warehouse. But it's okay, lads, because we've got the go-kart track. See, that's that. So, if you're criticising the route builder, you wouldn't see stuff like that, because that's been properly done really well by a route builder that knows what they're doing. Okay? That I can guarantee. They know what they're doing to have done that. We've got the old excavator sounds and stuff over here. But yeah, you can clearly see the person making this has done a really good job. Or the people making it, for the most part, have done a really good job. This is very, very dark. Very, very, very dark. I can't actually see what's going on there. And we've got Cuju Street Bridge once again. Can we not find anything better? Can we not make anything better that we could use in multiple locations? I.e., even if you make one bridge and do it in high-res textures, instead of just using the same Cuju bridge. Even we've grown out of using that at JT, and we were literally making using Cuju stuff everywhere until like 2 years ago. So this is Stetchford Station. I don't know these areas very well, so I can't really say much. We've got cross city branding and stuff. The world's tallest shelter. But yeah, it looks pretty decent, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Again, the station model there, good. More Cuju Bridge. So we've just passed 2 of that same bridge in the last mile. 3 of the same bridge in the last mile. I don't know why these stations are so dark compared to the ones on the London end. Maybe they've been built by somebody else. But that is an issue for sure. It's sort of spoiling the overall look, I think. Still a nice model, so I can tell that from looking at them. So again, let's reiterate what I'm saying about this Cuju Bridge, okay? Look at the texturing on it. Yeah? Look at the texturing on that and then compare, I mean, this is all dark, so you can't really see. But compare it to such as the detail there, or the texturing on... Oh, it's low detail. But you get what I'm saying. The textures on it are just so low res. The detail in it, for its age, it's a good model, but we can do better than that. Just retexture the damn thing in a higher res texture and send it out. If you're going to use it so many times, then bloody hell, just do something with it. Don't just expect your customer to use put up with recycled shit such as this. Again, recycled. This footbridge is just recycled over the years. I can guarantee that does not look like that in real life. If that bridge looks like that in real life, I'll put my bitches down in Wakefield Market. As random as that is to say, that's probably the most outrageous thing that's ever been said on one of our videos before. But I mean, again, look, it looks good. I'm getting so wound up because this looks really good again. It's a bit dark. Quite why the stations in the Birmingham area apparently live in the dark zone. I mean, Birmingham in general is in the dark ages, but quite why some of them are so dark, I don't know. We've got the airport, low detail, but we've got it. Cool. Got lots of plane stuff going on down here. I like that. So look at that. Look at that. That is a sign of what can be done when you spend your time doing it. It's really quite decent. Well, it's alright. I mean, I don't... Is it custom? Please tell me it's... Oh, it's not custom. Okay, I take that bit back. I thought it was custom. It's not. Even the bridge outside International's not custom. Birmingham International looks quite decent. I think it's it looks a bit squat to me, a bit low. I think it should be higher than that. Does the G really catch the T on the side? I don't know, but aside from being a bit dark in here again, it's looking very, very nice. Let's just continue our little fly down to Coventry, and that's well, we've got rugby, I suppose, as well, haven't we? I like the way this has been done. I think this might be some of the best route build I've seen on this route so far. It looks like it's had a lot of effort and love put into it. Again, Hampton Arden custom station. It looks good. Let's carry on down. Just fly to Coventry because this video is getting very long at the moment. We're an hour and 17 in. Come on, TS. Work, please. We're kind of just waiting for it auto-loading, I guess. One thing I noticed with some of the assets on the left there, I noticed that they haven't got like the usual DTG sort of precursor names, like any letters before them, which is unusual for DTG. So this is Coventry. This looks good. So, I'm noticing quite a lot of clutter here. The bridges at both ends are custom by the looks. And that looks fantastic. That looks fantastic. That is one of the best views I think I've seen on a DTG view. That looks brilliant. As does that. I'm quite impressed with that. Look at the detail. Welcome to Coventry and everything. Car park or whatever it is, a building site. Hats off not only to the person that's made the route here, the route building stuff. Hats off also to the asset developer, because that's no mean feat that they've come there, and I think that's really good. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. Let's take a look at rugby then while we're finishing off here. Coventry, I think, is probably one of the best stations I think I've seen on this route so far. I think the two that are the worst are New Street and Euston. Pound for pound. Euston by a long way the worst because it's not finished. New Street was alright. It was just some of the texture issues and stuff that should have been fixed. I feel like it wasn't quite cluttered up as it should be. Coventry, for instance, there was a signal that that one had been cluttered up. So this is rugby. Not a station I've been to many times, so I can't comment on it. I can see that there's on the tarmac thing, and then the other side style paving, and it looks reasonably good, doesn't it? I think. Not the best judge of it, me, so I can't really judge it fairly. But from a purely from a, I've got random chunks out of the platform, but for the most part, it looks decent. we'll end with this wonderful view of Rugby IECC Signalling Centre, because you can see clearly how much of a great job the custom asset has done there. So we'll take a moment of silence for the fact that we've managed to use a Cujo asset for a critical railway building. So you get that fantastic view, you think, yeah, bloody hell, well done, fantastic. Then you get that. That should be a signalling centre, unless I'm massively mistaken. I think that should be a signalling centre. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. I mean, we've got bits of Cujo strewn about, and fences that aren't finished, which again shows a lack of time being allowed. So, in summary, it's hard to summarise it because I don't think it's a finished route, and I don't think it's fair to summarise it in that way. Is it worth 25 quid? If you've not got the stock, probably. If you want the view. I mean, I'd say I feel like it's a bit of an insult at 25 quid because of the fact it is not finished. There's a lot of bugs in here that could have been finished in a week or two, and you could say, well, yeah, that's fantastic, I love it. We've got the issues with the FPS, which haven't really affected my drive. Some people are going to find this undrivable, and then you can't really be saying that's, yeah, okay to charge 25 quid. But I think if the issues are fixed and stuff like that, then yeah. I think if you look at the Steam reviews, you're going to find that there's a lot of negatives in there. A lot of negatives. And we've got to make DTG understand that we're not happy with this as customers. Are you happy that there's a hole in the back of Euston Station? Are you happy that at Euston Station you've got a sign buried inside a bridge pillar? I think if you're happy chucking 25 quid at a route, and then them to then either think they don't need to fix it or not to know to fix it, I think we're looking a bit stupid, really, in all honesty. And I think that's why we've got to make ourselves heard here, because this has happened now with Fife where it got a bit worse, and we've happened with Southampton to a lesser extent where it got worse. But this is a new low for DTG in terms of what they've done. This is like Donna Pass, if not worse, over again. It's really poor. It's not finished. Yeah, that's there's somebody in management somewhere has let this be released. It is not finished. You cannot release something that's not finished. You can release something with bugs in, because that's what you're doing. That's what service packs are for. Service packs are to fix minor bugs, such as the floating bushes that we saw, such as a floating building, such as the odd broken signal, such as even 10 or 20 broken signals. You can say, well, okay, yeah, I can live with that. If you're going to fix it, and you know they're going to fix it, yeah. But to release it with the state that Euston is in, and let's just go back to Euston to finish this video. Let's end the video at London Euston. Okay, so because it's easy for me to talk about that whilst I'm finishing the video, isn't it? To release a route with a station in that state, and there's a damn crater in it, and I'm not criticising the person that has made that asset, because I would imagine the person that's made that asset, that's not the first thing they've made in this route. And the other stations are fantastic, so I fully expect this would have been fantastic, given the time to finish it. Look at this. Look at that. Look at it. We haven't got the wires in. Where's the wires? Load the wires. There we are. Are you saying that's a finished route? Are you saying that's a finished route? Are we saying this is finished? That is a what? If they're assuming that's a movable sign, that's a 1 minute job. Not even that. It's not finished. I don't care how much marketing you've done. You don't just chuck it out because it's release day. I'm going to end this video by taking our little trolley and we'll go to Hogwarts. Because the Hogwarts route at least probably would be finished, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. And I hate being so harsh on it. Because I think underneath this is a fantastic route, and I hate being so harsh. I'm a developer, I shouldn't be so harsh. But there comes a point where you sort of say, it ain't good enough. Why should we pay our 25 quid? You know, to me, this isn't a massive amount of money. You know, I buy Domino's pizza and stuff like that. They cost 25 quid sometimes. You know, you sort of think, well, that's gone in 5 minutes. To me, a route for 25 quid is not an issue. I don't mind paying 25 quid for a route. I do mind paying for a product that is not finished. Buggy? I'll pay for a buggy route. But I won't pay for one that's not bloody finished. I mean, come on. And what's going on with the platform markers as well? Like 01, 04. Why say that? Why just 1? Because it's going to be 0, 1. It's not going to be anything else, is it? I mean, look, is this loading in? I hope this is... Yeah, it's still loading in. But yeah, I'll leave you with the whole... and the route to Narnia down the back of Euston Station. Finish the route, please, DTG. Please finish the route. Because you've got a good product under here otherwise, for the most part. Let you guys have a bit more time. Giving this a rating out of 10, 5 at most. I think 5's fair. I think with the fixes, on my machine, on a when I get a reasonable FPS, I'd say 7 or 8 with the fixes, with it finished. For some users who don't get a very good FPS, I imagine it's going to be a really low score because they can't play it, and that's fair enough. People can't play Metline. But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Sorry it was such a rant. Again, to the guys that have made it, well done. I think you've done a good job. I do not want you guys to feel like you've been critiqued here. You are not. DTG management, come on, sort it out. For Christ's sake. Unless you're trying to kill TS, in which case, then fair enough, alright. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Usually I find Tom live on Twitch. Days vary these days because he's got Babby and he's all over the place with it. But you can find him at twitch.tv/trainsim_TV. And please do like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate your follows as always. Thanks very much, guys. See you in a bit. Bye.